purified of all sins performed with his body, words, and mind. These sins are like dried leaves of creepers beneath a bamboo tree, which may be burned by fire, although their roots remain to grow again at the first opportunity. Now this is also not easy to hear. It's almost hopeless. You know, it says that actually the roots don't get burned, but our hope is given in the Nectar of Devotion, where it is explained scientifically, quoting from Padma Purana, how these sinful reactions and sinful desires can be burnt to ashes completely. So this is our hope, and we have to work hard to burn these sinful desires in our heart, to become very serious. And so by all this heavy stuff you get temporarily it says temporarily this is temporarily purified of all sins performed with his body, words and mind. So but these sins are like leaves and creepers which may be burned, but the roots remain to grow at the first opportunity. Okay, now tapa, complete control of the mind and senses and their complete concentration on one kind of activity is called tapaha. So here in this verse in Sanskrit we have the word tapa, which is the first word. Tapasa brahmacharyena shamena cha damena cha tyagena satya shochabhyam yamena niyamena va dehavag buddhijam dira dharmagya shadayanvitaha kshipantyagam mahadapi venu gulmam ivanalaha. So that's the verse that we read in English. And Srila Prabhupada starts the purport with the explanation of tapa, the word tapa, and he says, our Krishna consciousness movement is teaching people how to concentrate the mind on devotional service. This is first class tapaha. Now he explains what is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, the life of celibacy, has 8 aspects. One should not think of women. So that's very hard because we had a habit of watching women, thinking of women, talking to women, having physical exchange with women. So, but here it says one should not think of women.
The first one.
Now, yeah. Now, if you notice that that in your mind there are thoughts about women, you can do something about it. You can change the quality of how you think of women. So if you see that you're thinking of some Mataji or from a friend, then you can have inner dialogue that explains how you can think of that woman. First of all, it is said that every woman except your mother, your wife, you should see as your mother, including your mother. So that's one way to see women. Now there is another place where Srila Prabhupada explains that we can see women as gopis. Now when we see gopis, when we think of gopis, we don't see them as our own sense objects, but we know that they belong to Krishna and that they're meant for his enjoyment. So all the women that we see, they are not meant for our enjoyment. Now that's not easy because we have a habit of thinking that, this would be nice to enjoy this woman. So if you cannot not think of women immediately, maybe later when you think of Krishna 24 hours a day, but now women come in the mind, and then how we think about women, with respect, with great respect, seeing them as mothers or seeing them as gopis, seeing them as sincere servants of Krishna. If the woman is not yet a sincere servant of Krishna, you think, I would like that this woman become a devotee, and maybe I will be an instrument in giving her a book, or bringing her to the temple and connecting her to our Matajis, or guru, spiritual master, or maybe a mentor who will be her mentor to her husband and herself, or to be an instrument in helping her to get in touch with Krishna consciousness and to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So so that's how we can think of women. We think, once Maharaj said, I'm not sure, maybe Raghunath Maharaj said, that women shouldn't be object of our passion, but of our compassion. And they should be object of our compassion. So if the mind says, oh, it was so nice to spend the night with her, you can say, yes, but she's a spirit soul, and she's suffering, and she needs Krishna in order to be happy. I cannot make her happy, and she needs an opportunity to start devotional service. So, and she's also a child of God, and we are eternally related as servants of Krishna, not as enjoyers. So this is about thinking. If you have any question, please write it down and we can discuss when I finish. I will not take too long of speaking. Speak about sex life. I think that's clear. We don't like to speak or think.
That's the second one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 2. But you have it. You have all this in the Bhagavatam. It's 6, 1, 13, 14.
It's also in the Krishna Brahmacari book, right? It's the first.
Probably, yeah.
Not
Dally with women. Dally means flirt, I think. Flirting. So, like trying to attract her or being attracted by her. Dally. Flirting.
The third one.
Yeah. Flirting. Look lustfully in women. So if you notice your mind and your senses really enjoying some woman passing or a picture, then, don't do that. Talk intimately with women. Now, this is a tricky one. You can talk sometimes to a woman about service, or maybe a woman will approach you and ask you for help or advice, but you have to be careful not to get too intimate, because also she can get attached to you, you can get attached to her, and it can lead to problems. It may also lead to marriage, but
There's more problems.
That's, I mean, if you want, maybe sometimes things work. You meet a woman in Sankirtan, you get married, and she becomes a devotee, or you become a non-devotee. So, but you be careful how intimate this exchange becomes. And women need shelter, and when they see a caring man, I mean, I have a lot of experience of this. They see a caring man, and then they get attached very quickly. And even men also get attached quickly when they, are needy. They need women's energy, women's association. So I wrote something that I want to share with you. It came to me while I was chanting japa about the relationships, and one Swami liked it on Facebook. Kshetra Swami. So I said that conditioned souls in male bodies need female energy and female association to feel complete and fulfilled. And conditioned souls in female bodies need male energy and male association to feel complete and fulfilled. But when you are connected to Krishna, you already feel fulfilled and complete, and you don't need any conditioned soul to fulfill this emptiness in your heart.
I like it also.
This is what I think is happening in our heart. So intimately, or decide to engage in sexual intercourse. So I don't know, this or means that it's a new point or the same point, I'm not sure. You will see when you count. There should be 8.
What was it?
Talk intimately with women or decide to engage in sexual intercourse. Nor should one endeavor for sex life or engage in sex life. Now this is very straight. Endeavor means looking for a partner, and engage, we know it means breaking regulative principle. Now, there is more. One should not even think of women, so he is repeating the same point from the beginning, or look at them, to say nothing of talking with them. So now he says not even talking, and that's impossible. Looking also is quite impossible. I mean, you can't look at her shoes and talk to her. This is called first-class brahmacharya. If a brahmachari or sannyasi talks with a woman in a secluded place, naturally there will be a possibility for sex life without anyone's knowledge. Therefore, a complete brahmachari practices just the opposite. If one is a perfect brahmachari, he can very easily control the mind and senses, give charity, speak truthfully, and so forth. To begin, however, one must control the tongue and the process of eating.
Can you repeat the sentence before including this tongue and this eating?
To begin, before?
Yeah.
If one is a perfect brahmachari, he can very easily control the mind and senses, give charity, speak truthfully, and so forth.
And continue?
To begin, however, one must control the tongue and the process of eating. Jihva, the tongue, can be controlled if one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, does not speak of any subjects other than those concerning Krishna, and does not taste anything not offered to Krishna. So now controlling the tongue is related to brahmacharya. It is explained, and you can study this purport. There is more here about this. There is mention of fasts as auspicious, fasting. But if you start now practicing, you see, the mind wants to eat more food than the body needs for sustenance. So if you try to eat a little bit less than the mind wants, and you try to feel the food in the stomach, you will see that it's enough. And if you are hungry, you can always add something little later if you need it, really, if you become so frustrated, exhausted. But better to also allow the stomach to digest, because when we overburden it, it's very difficult to digest. This leads to diseases and also makes you sleepy, tired, etc. So better to add a little bit later if you're hungry, a couple of morsels, than just stuff yourself up to the neck. And I have experience of like 30 years of overeating, and although I've never been fat, and everybody said I need 20 more kilos, now I have added maybe 7 to my normal weight, but I am not going to go up. But it's so difficult. You can ask Prabhupada Charan Prabhu, you can ask senior devotee. It's so difficult with eating because we have this amazing food. And every day, variety. And almost in every temple there is so much amazing preparations. And so how can we practically work on this? One thing we can do is take a little bit of everything, because you want to taste everything. So first take a little bit of everything. If you want more of something specifically which is really far out and attractive, you can take more of 1 or maybe 2, but don't take more of everything because you cannot digest it, and it will be a burden for the body, even for a young body. I mean, okay, if you're cleaning and you're physically active, it may be easier to digest, but for people like me who is mainly talking, sitting, and it's difficult. I walk, sometimes go for a walk or do exercise here, but anyway, you have to actually treat the body as a person. Try to feel what the body is telling you. If the body says enough, then stop eating. It says, okay, my dear body, you said enough food, okay. But my mind says more, but I will listen to you and I will tell my mind to cooperate. Okay, that's one thing. This is this amazing 6:1:13 to 14 verse and purport, which will help you in your Brahmacharya. I want to mention that for Brahmacharya, it's good to have a spiritual vision. If you have a spiritual vision, then you see women and souls. You see everything as an opportunity to serve and not to enjoy. Or you can enjoy, but enjoy service. Enjoy serving others. So this perception. For example, if your japa is good, you become satisfied and you don't need something extra, some illicit sense gratification. If your reading is there, if your exchange with devotees is loving and nice, then you become satisfied with this. My last point is an amazing letter to Kirtiraj Prabhu. Then we can go to questions. It's a letter, I give you the reference. February 28, 1972, letter to Kirtiraj.
1972.
1972, 28 February. Srila Prabhupada's letter to Kirtiraj. So he was asking, about thinking of sex. He asked, is that also one form of illicit sex or against our four principles? That was a question of Kirtiraj Prabhu. He was a Grihastha at that time, he had children. He is Grihastha even now. He used to go to Russia, preach there. He has some Russian origin, I think grandfather. Now listen what Srila Prabhupada says. Yes, even thinking sex is the same as illicit sex.
Oh.
But one who is not advanced cannot avoid it. Now he didn't say do it. But that does not disturb our regular procedure, Prabhupada said. We should strongly follow all the regulations and principles and chant, and these thoughts will come and go away. Thinking will come. Even great saintly persons like Lord Shiva are not free of thoughts that come. So what to speak of you? So that means sexual thoughts. So we must say that such thinking is no offense. Now he's saying the opposite thing. It's no offense because you are accustomed to this habit. But beyond thinking are feeling and willing. So even thoughts of sex connection may come. That is difficult even for saintly person to avoid. Still, in the further stages of feeling and willing, we can easily conquer over this sex urge. Willing should be avoided, so cultivating the desire for sex, and acting stopped, or else there is offense of breaking this basic prohibition of illicit sex life. Because thinking comes, I shall give it practical shape. That is nonsense. But because it is an old habit, we are unable to check it unless we can understand the nature of feeling, willing, and then action, and how by proper use of intelligence we can prevent thoughts which must come maturing into actions. That is the practical application of Krishna consciousness regulative principles. Even Lord Chaitanya himself said that sometimes when I see a wooden form of a woman, my mind becomes agitated, but that does not mean that we should give it practical shape. That is intelligence. One must be convinced sex life without exception means trouble. Therefore, he is able to stop it at the thinking stage by not allowing it to be felt, much less willed and acted. So this is the point. Can you give me this water, please? That one, yeah. Just dry. So as a practical tool, this is what I wanted to share with you, this last sentence. Prabhupada says, if you don't allow, if you stop this business of contemplating sense enjoyment at the thinking stage, it's much easier to deal with it than if it develops into feeling or willing, which means it starts to grow into desire to act. Sometimes devotees ask me, how can I control my anger? Now we are speaking about controlling lust. The principle is the same. If you start the anger is feeling, you can stop it early. You don't let it develop and then become like a rage. So this is something that needs to be practiced. You cannot master this overnight. But in our Bhaktasugi and Bhaktasuri came to me for a time management session, training, and I showed them this planning system which is based on your mission statement, on your key roles, your key goals and your action points. It's a weekly planning and it has 6 steps of organizing the week. And step number 5, show sincerity in the moment of choice. You have attended some of my classes where I was saying that we are what we do when no one is looking. So especially when no one is looking, you can show sincerity in the moment of choice. Krishna is watching you. When you see, let's say you are looking for a ticket on the internet and then the advertisement pops up. Poop! A beautiful woman. Come to Hawaii. Or I'm waiting for you, or something like that. And then you are watching for half a second. It's almost unconscious. And you are noticing that you are watching. And then you are asking yourself, what are you doing? Why are you watching this woman for such a long time as a half second? That's like a century. This is not right. So, what is sincerity? You cannot prevent something to pop up. Maybe it will not be advertisement, maybe some beautiful woman will appear in the temple in a miniskirt with open shirt, and now she's there alive. It's not a picture. So, what is sincerity? Sincerity to remember that I'm the servant. I'm the servant of this person to help her go back to Godhead. I'm not the enjoyer of this woman. And when you see a photo, you immediately remember that the super soul is also seeing this photo. So together you are watching, and Krishna is watching this picture, and he is telling you, I have sent you this illusion to test your seriousness. What are you going to do now? What will you do now? And then you say, Krishna, I can hear you, and now I'm going to lift my head up and not book a ticket. Well, you can book a ticket, or you can maybe narrow the screen, or do something to not see this, or enter the data quickly and continue and go to another page. You can do so many things, but you can tell Krishna that I don't want this. So basically, this is a situation where you consciously and sincerely say no to Maya and yes to Krishna. So these are the moments of truth. These are the moments when we earn spiritual points. These are the moments where show Krishna our seriousness, when no one is looking, and when we are also not looking at what we are not supposed to look. So, okay, so this is what I prepared for you today about Brahmacharya. We don't need to discuss million points. I can give a talk of probably 6 hours if I go to Wikipedia about this. There is a whole category. That means there is hundreds of quotes. But now I would like to hear your questions, comments, questions related to what I presented, and questions related to anything else that concerns you in relation to Brahmacharya, celibacy, and proper relation to the opposite sex. Who is first?
Okay.
Someone in between.
Yeah, it's Mr. Joe. No, yeah, I just have some information also about what you said about the semen is being raised.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great science actually, and you know it. And I'd just like to speak just a minute about what I learned from one senior devotee that is not institutionalized but is a freelancer at his home, preaching, doing mission on YouTube, preaching very nicely. And he explains esoterics of this, how it goes up, and it connects it to Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Buddha consciousness, every other tradition he includes in this celibacy. How there is actually a whole science. When it climbs up in 1 month, we have one opportunity a month to abstain from it and to allow it to come to our pineal gland to feed our brain, so to say. So it comes up and it stays for 3 days in limbo, like a non-active, dead. It transforms, it activates some more other chemicals. This DMT is also there, is this molecule of the soul that scientists call today the spirit molecule. And after these 3 days of limbo, of being dead, that he correlates to Jesus climbing up on this 33 vertebra, 33 years of Jesus' life, and becomes crucified at the cross of the cerebral spirit, whatever. And how after 3 days it descends back to our solar plexus, and
Sorry to interrupt. Oh, no, it's Steve. Steve? Oh. Can I have you just for 20 seconds, please?
I think it's just for one devotee, one accommodation, this guest. Yes?
and actually in this moment of when the sun is in our, when the moon is in our sun sign, so it includes astrology also, this 1 day a month we have a chant that it activates all our glands in system, and it makes us kind of more spiritualized, more enlightened, more high vibrational, and in this sense we attract more information, more realizations, more connection with God in ourselves, and in relationship with other living beings. And it's correlated also with practicing vegetarian diet, good healthy lifestyle, this moral ethics, everything is included. So yeah, actually it is a great science that needs to be also, and at least I like it to be understood in such a detail, how it happens, when it happens, what the body actually does, and this is a whole kind of another field of science that can be also explored. And I'm happy that I met this person online when I was in Simhachalam temple. So I can also, if you're inspired, I can share some videos with you where he gives presentations about this thing, also correlation with astrology. So it's very nicely explained, about the girls and boys and everything. So it's very, very nice. You said it, how it climbs, and it's really inspiring to hear these things in detail, so we understand actually the esoteric part of it also. So this is what I can say.
What is the name of him? What is the name?
His name is Santos Bolachi. It's on YouTube. His channel is called Mr. Astrotheology. All together, 2 words. Mr. Astrotheology. And he has many. One of his 5-part seminaries, Vaishnavism, the right hand path. He says left hand path or right hand path of every religion, tradition. The left one is extreme, Islam or this or that, fanatic, more inclined to making violence by following it. And the other is really peaceful, with understanding, with genuine practice and compassion and this and that. So he explains very nicely these points about why we should practice 4 principles, why we should chant even, and why we should practice continuously the devotion and services. It's really a great inspiration for me to hear him. Yes.
I recommend for all of you to first study what Prabhupada said very thoroughly, and then you can understand what other people say, and even if they are very learned in certain field. But Srila Prabhupada is giving a very simple and powerful foundation for many areas of life, including this. And one thing that I also wanted to mention is that basically what we are trying to do here is turning karma into prema. So that's the, like you can say, alchemy
Alchemy of the soul.
alchemical process of transformation of iron into gold. So that same energy that we feel can be transformed, can be purified, and it can become a great source of strength and intelligence. And I'm sure that also in the Vedas there is information about this, and there is more like scientific explanations and all these details how it works.
Yeah, he extracts this from
Right.
Upanishads and Prabhupada's books also.
Right.
Just details.
So, I mean, I think Bhakti-Vikas Swami did quite a lot of research on the topic, and I have read parts of his book, but you can read the whole book.
This Brahmacari and Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. And also, I mean, we don't want to get obsessed with Brahmacharya, but it's an important, very, very important part. We want to get absorbed in love of Krishna and devotion and developing a higher taste. Then this interest will be less and less, but Maya will come back again and again until it's finished, until Krishna is convinced that we don't want. And the test, as Prabhupada said, even Lord Shiva was tested. So, Lord, in these thoughts, he says, thoughts come. And there is this wonderful verse, I think it's 70, 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 70, which I just published yesterday. It says that like rivers are always flowing into the ocean and the ocean remains still, similarly a Krishna conscious person is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, but he remains fixed on his service, on his Krishna consciousness, and he doesn't get distracted by these desires. They come and he lets them go. And I was in Split, I was giving a seminar called My Dear Mind a few months ago, and I was recommending to devotees, based on the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book Kalyana Kalpataru, where he uses this phrase a lot of time, that when mind starts to disturb us with criticizing others, with lusty thoughts, with all kinds of things that we know are unfavorable for Krishna consciousness, we can say, my dear mind, please cooperate. My dear mind, please stop this kind of thinking. And please use all the instructions that you have heard from the scriptures to focus on Krishna. Any aspect of Krishna, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, whether it's name or its form or its pastimes or name, qualities also, yes. Krishna's name. And sometimes we are chanting and just a lusty thought comes, or a thought about other sinful activity, intoxication. And if you look at Krishna's picture, like here is Krishna's picture, and pray, Krishna, please help me. You see what's happening in my mind, so please, take it away. He will take it away. So simple. And you can continue chanting peacefully. And then Ma will test you a couple of more times during the japa time, and if every time you say no, then there is no more disturbance. You can chant, you can go to Guru Puja, and the thoughts are not coming. So the thought may come, the idea or external sense object, or like a woman may appear, but you develop an internal dialogue that helps you to be Krishna conscious. You talk to yourself in a way that will keep you protected. What I say to myself sometimes, yes, it feels attractive, it feels comfortable, it feels pleasurable, but it's a trap. And I know it. I have already experienced it. It's a trap. So why make the same mistake again and again? Okay, you had a question?
Yeah. We're living in a temple of quite a few Matajis. So when there's a Mataji coming, there's no one, Mataji who takes care of her. So usually some of us take care of them. We all talk with them, we all have association with them. Sometimes we even teach them kirtan. So, and I just recognize that it's actually not really good as Brahmacari. I personally try to not get too much into that, but I mean, at the other side, if who takes care of them, who introduce them to Krishna consciousness, so what can we do in that case?
Well, now you have Prabhupada Charan Prabhu and Chandramukhi Mataji, and they can take care of the ladies also.
Yes, the problem is that it was also Mataji who was living here. She was complaining that there's no, like everyone tries to avoid her, and that she doesn't feel part of the temple of the family, and also these they look for people in their age. Of course they also look for men, there's also lust involved. But I was wondering, should we just reject them? Just follow Brahmacari.
You can be kind in a human way. You can say Haribol, and if they need some help, you can help. But women can feel. My experience with women is that they have like a radar, and they feel that if man is becoming attached or he likes her physically and mentally, and then they also tend to become attached, or to decide to become attached, or to do something about it, to have some, like, maybe show some desire to speak more and more, communicate more, and maybe buy you a gift or something like that. So, but if you have, like, it's called healthy distance, and full respect, but at the same time healthy distance, then I have seen that the ladies, they don't push. Sometimes there is ladies that have such a nature that they will push until you surrender. but but if there is such ladies, then you should take a bigger distance. If there is such a lady, because sometimes they have been men in their previous life, and they have a strong mind, and they also take it as a personal challenge to win your heart or to marry you. I had this experience myself, and I resisted. But I'm still friendly, and I didn't. I don't hate this person, and I didn't. If she needs help, I will always help as a friend. But I resisted this attempt to have a super close relationship. It's not easy, because women come and they are very sincere in devotional service, and we don't want to fry them, but there should be a healthy distance. And what happened, like, I'm doing life coaching and helping people from all genders, all ages, and sometimes it's natural that a woman will think that, oh, maybe he likes me because I'm kind to her, I'm caring. And then when I see that, this is maybe for the future, for your career as a preacher or something. Then when I noticed that kind of the symptoms of greater attachment, or maybe I can feel that she's thinking, oh, maybe he can be my husband, or maybe he really likes me, he can be my boyfriend or something. Then I really very clearly keep distance, and my communication is more like, if it's a chat, then it's like more frugal, or how you say, it's just a less communication and a little bit more official, not cold but more official, and then they understand. Then they look somewhere else if they need, and you can have a woman swearing, not swearing, zaklínať, как se kaže?
Yes, to swear, but not to curse, but to
Not
swear.
curse, like swearing by God that you are the only one forever, and then next month she will be with somebody else who accepted her. So if a woman tells you you're the only one forever, don't believe it.
Don't believe it, just believe it.
But I'm really amazed by the women in our movement, because amazing souls are coming, and they are so sincere, they do so much service. Some women have collected so much Lakshmi, distributed so many books, helped so many people, and sacrificed so much. So we have to be very respectful, and they are not ordinary souls. Very respectful and helpful as much as we can. But if the relationship becomes like intimate man-woman relationship, then if we don't want to develop this relationship with this particular person, then we have to be very clear and keep distance, and they will see. And here, I mean, on Ishtagoshtis, and when you speak privately with now, two of them will really try to develop different aspects in devotee care. So you can express your concern and see what they say, how to deal with that one, and what they would recommend also for you, how to act. But what I said, it's just also common sense. And also, I don't know if you are like this, if it's your nature, but some men are, maybe they have a little bit of a Kshatriya nature, so that means they are very protective. And they want to protect not only women, but children and old people and Prabhus and everybody. And when you have this nature, then naturally you cannot tolerate sometimes that people are... I mean, one of the reasons I started coaching, I saw so much suffering in ISKCON, also in the ladies' ashram, so much suffering. And I said, I'm not going to just sit and watch this. So, what I want to say is, you develop a little bit a mood of a savior, but if you are not clearly appointed to help somebody, like some woman, then be sure that somebody will help her. You can ask somebody to help her, you don't have to save her. She will be saved if she is a sincere soul, I'm sure. Otherwise, you may be unsaved. You know, if you get too much protective and too much interest. If you want to be very protective about one woman, then you can marry her and protect her fully, and she will protect you, probably. So, but otherwise, we have to be a little detached. Even with men, when we're helping men, you know, we want to help somebody, but somehow they are not helping themselves. So what can you do? You cannot stand on your head. You cannot scream and shout. They have to become more serious. And the time will come, and Krishna is watching them. So this woman will not be lost, you know, she will be connected somehow, and somebody else will come, and you can pray for her if you are concerned about her, but you don't have to help her, especially if you are a young brahmachari. This is somebody else's duty. And if you show somebody to play a little card, well, that's not a big problem, or maybe in the kitchen how to cook something, but generally better to, you know, give this to others to do this sweet jobs. and just be serious, be sincere. I keep distance and respect at a distance, healthy distance and respectful distance. Okay. Yes, brother.
And what do you think about approaching women during book distributions?
Yeah.
This is also maybe should be avoided, or
I don't think so.
it's okay?
No. I mean, you can speak to book distributors, experienced book distributors. I don't know, Harinamananda Prabhu, he comes, he distributed millions of books to men and women. I don't think you should make this distinction, but make sure that you don't approach only beautiful women. Because, you know, maybe it's easier to do Sankirtan. It's more inspiring. Young, beautiful, and my type.
Is it not like that by seeing and meditating over the sense object our desire grows? But if
Yes.
we avoid to see this and we try to not meditate and not look at a woman, then it will, its desire will disappear, maybe not disappear.
Well,
but it will
this is recommended to look at the sky.
really.
It's recommended also to go to a secluded place. Is recommended, but ultimately the sense object will appear in the mind. So you have to train yourself to see them with spiritual eyes. Even if you see them physically or in the mind, when you see them, you always see them with your spiritual eye. Then you don't see them as a sense enjoyment object. You see them as object of your service, object of your compassion. I think that's a long-term solution. Short-term solution may be to, you know, isolate.
Avoiding to look. That is, I heard that if you're looking one time, then you're innocent. If you're looking two times, then you're already a little bit no more innocent. And third time like this.
Who said that?
I heard this somewhere. This is like the arrows of armor or
Of Cupid.
Cupid, yeah.
I heard
But
this.
this is what Prabhupada says. Stop it at the stage of at the first stage, beginning stages. Don't let it develop.
Thinking.
The more you contemplate it, the more the desire develops.
Mhm.
Dhyato visham punsam sangasteshu pajayate sangam sajayate kama kamat krodha bijayate. The royal road to hell is described in the Bhagavad Gita.
Having association
But it
with
begins
God.
with contemplating the sense objects.
Okay. And if
You
we
see what?
and if we fill our minds totally with Krishna Katha and everything, and then it will like reduce that part of thinking, right? Of women's.
You can think of women in a Krishna conscious way, that they are servants of Krishna. They are meant for his pleasure. Your role is to help them to serve Krishna and to give them book.
It's very difficult for me to think like this. Prabhu. This is not
You need to
possible for me.
practice.
All women are both.
You see, the main thing I am teaching in my courses and classes is inner dialogue. So you can develop any inner dialogue you want, but you need to practice. How do you talk to yourself? The mind tells you, oh, this is a woman, wow. But you can say, come on, what are you doing? What are you thinking now? So like talking with the person. If you have a friend who is always telling you, Prabhuji, don't you like this Mataji, huh? This is like a mind saying, and you say, what are you talking about? Come on, we are supposed to speak about Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. Don't do this. So the mind is like a Prabhuji who is in Maya. Young brahmacari or enthusiastic. So if you see Mataji, you say, Mataji, how can I serve you? Akrura Prabhu said, I am a servant of everybody. And she says, Prabhuji, you can marry me. That's the best service for me if you can do.
Make me a baby, let's make a divorce.
And then you say, I can do anything except that. And then she says, you are a loser.
You're not a servant.
You are not a servant, you are
Just a
pretending,
cheater,
you are a cheater.
Oh yeah, that would be actually another good question. Being a servant, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we always serve the material desires of. Actually, we should not serve the material desires of
Yes.
people, isn't it? Otherwise,
Yes,
we get entangled.
good point. Yeah. So you are not a servant to material. I am servant. Let us serve Krishna. Make hundreds Krishna conscious children. Bhaktisiddhanta said, if you can maintain them,
Yeah.
you can make them Krishna conscious. But today, even one is difficult to maintain or make Krishna conscious. So, but if you have this capacity, I mean, some devotees have children, they are Krishna conscious, and children are Krishna conscious. But it's not so frequent. I mean, there is. So, and
It is okay. First, artificially maybe to have
don't
this.
torture women by flirting, by giving them hope, by giving them some hints that maybe. Don't give a woman maybe, ever. Be honest man. Be honest man. Because this tortures her. This is not fair. She's your sister for now, before she becomes your wife, maybe. so don't torture her. She is a child of God. She is struggling with maybe. Either yes or no. Clear yes, clear no. And if devotees allow you authorities to associate with a view of marrying, then you can, have maybe. But before that, don't send maybe vibes. With your eyes, with your
Vibes.
with your care, with all these things, So we are now getting into real stuff. Everyday life.
So it is okay to have some internal dialogue. So first, artificially, if I think, okay, she's my mother, of course, I'm not really thinking she's my mother, but just to practice, I say in myself, she's my mother, she's my
Fake it
mother,
till you
she's
make
my mother. like that. But
You can say she's a spirit soul. She's a spirit soul.
soul.
She's an eternal servant of Krishna.
Mm,
She's maybe a gopi.
mm,
You know, anything that works for you. Maybe mother doesn't work so well for you.
no.
But okay, so try something else.
Maybe young mother.
No.
No, this is also not
A
possible.
quality of a mother is that
I have
she,
a bad experience with my mother.
cares and serves you. So women often do that. If they see something at you, they start caring and waiting. For Mataji, she gave me a whole bucket of clothes because
Yeah.
I needed a jacket. So I mean, of course I also felt affection, but I didn't feel the desire to enjoy her. I just liked, I just appreciated her. So and I kind of look at her more like a friend, not like a mother. And I mean, friendship between male and female. I mean, material world maybe not so much, but in spiritual world they are there. So it's also a possibility. Don't you think so?
Well, we are friendly to everybody. Friendship is always there, but close friendship is dangerous if you're not married. So you be careful not to get too close with friendship and with gifts and with these little gestures of care, because then it develops in a strong attachment. So,
We can be friendly, but not too friendly.
yes, yeah. And we should always show respect, appreciation. Respect is powerful because it even protects you, I think, from attachment. If it's just healthy respect for the soul, for the person. But one thing I think we can practice and think about how to practice is to be honest, to be sincere, to be honest that don't play games. You know when you're playing games, they know when you're playing games. So if you sincerely show Krishna that, Krishna, I'm not playing games. If I want to marry her, I will try everything to marry her and squeeze like the neck of the authorities or whatever. But I don't want to play games because I want to torture her and myself. There are so many ways how you can play games, and this maybe game. So, and that's why in Vedic culture it was so clear and simple, but in the Western culture it's not like that. In Western culture it's not like this. In Western culture there is a lot of playing games. I had an experience with Indian ladies, and they are sometimes more chaste. You can't come close. They are affectionate, but they don't develop like emotional attachment with you in a relationship. They can be affectionate, and also it depends what is her relationship with her husband. If the relationship with her husband is strong, then the whole situation is more clean. But if she has problems with her husband, then she might get attached to you if you are a preacher, visiting preacher or something. So it's... Esi dobio sobu, jesi?
Nije dobro.
Okay. This is very important. This honesty to the another soul, which is also a child of God. And she's also struggling. She's struggling to control her mind, to find shelter, to find support. And then, I mean, if any of you get married later, then the whole new body of knowledge is about how to be Krishna conscious in a marriage. And there is Grihasthas who are successful, how to not break principles, but it still have some exchange, like this. So, I mean, not illicit exchange, but some exchange of affection and showing that you care and that, things like that. So there is a balance, and there is a sane, I would say, relationship, but also there is a point when you come to a border of Maya in relationship, and then you should not cross it. Don't cross it. And if husband and wife have the similar idea, usually the problem comes when one wants more than the other, more of some kind of enjoyment. So then they clash. This is a big problem. There are so many divorces, but while you are single, you can be honest and try to. For me, it's very helpful to respect ladies. When I respect them, I really feel very bad if I start to contemplate, because then it's disrespectful. Like this. Okay. Yes.
And how to sometimes it is said that we should not
What?
look in the eyes if I talk with them. Are there some practical tips how we can talk without to looking deep in the eyes?
You can look in the eyes briefly, but not all the time. You can look. I look sometimes like. I mean, if she's here, I can look maybe here and listen. Not in the shoes, not in the feet, but on the side a little bit. Or sometimes I look like this, but looking up is a little bit strange.
Yeah.
So
not too long.
Yeah, I mean,
in the eyes and keeping long.
While somebody's talking, you can look at the eye 1 second, or and listen, but show that you listen.
Yeah.
Even if you don't look at the eyes, just show that you listen. If you don't look at the eyes, sometimes people think you're not listening.
Yeah.
But show that you listen.
Because there was one, in Simachalam, there was one Karmi girl, and she was like a walkaway. She came she was a walkaway, and she came to the temple, and she felt like very ignored because no man would look to her eyes, and it was like very impersonal for her. It's like for her was like the people are very distant, and they don't dare to look her in the eyes. They talk like it was like very ignorant, also not ignorant, but very like impersonal. How to say?
That's
distance,
Germany. In Italy is different. We have workaway people, and everybody is looking and talking, and I mean not too extreme, but I don't hear anybody complain. I mean, girls don't complain about this in Italy. In Villa Brindavan, they don't. In Germany, I can imagine.
Yeah, you think this is too fanatic, or maybe this is too?
Yeah, if workaway people, I think devotees should have a clear policy or system or strategy or whatever. How we relate to volunteers. They should be clearly taught, and they should try to follow some guidelines where these people don't feel so ignored and neglected, but at the same time there is no intimacy and there is no. It's a fine line. It's it's a question of balance. And one person was asking me about to make a decision. Should I take this work or that work? We had a session, conversation, and then I said that whatever you decide. This person asked me, "What is your life experience?" Because I wouldn't answer to the question, "What should I do?" Because this is what they had to choose. And then I said, "Whatever you choose, there will be some risk." Whatever you choose, there will be some risk. And the person understood this. So there is always a risk, but it's a question of balancing, and you can balance. You use some intelligence and like a human being. But if you see them as so fortunate to be in the temple and do something there and take prasadam and sometimes go to the program, and you can show them that you are happy that they are here. So, but you need some strength to do that, because if you are scared of your emotions, of your lust, of your everything, then you are scared of people too. But if you are stronger in Krishna consciousness and chanting and reading, then you will be normal with people. Normal.
So it's better for the beginning to avoid, because I felt like maybe I was too intimate with her, because I felt like she said that to me and I felt like compassion, and then I talked to her and then I get attached to her. So it was like I was like too much into it. I was like compassion, and then I hurt myself. So
Compassion led to passion.
yeah.
Too
You
friendly.
can say too friendly, and
so-
I was too into the fire, and then I melted.
It's difficult. This is where we have to use our intelligence.
Yeah.
We don't use our intelligence in critical moments. We just let the feeling or the mind, drag us away. But if you use your intelligence, then you will find a proper balance. Either extreme is not good, but some golden middle way, the Buddha. But here is the Buddha. Krishna Prabhu was Buddha. Pralaya prayodi jale dritavana sivena. This is Matsya. Okay, any other?
You have no question?
So was this useful, this discussion today?
Yes.
Very good.
Can we have one more Brahmacari class? Every week, every Tuesday?
But also you should make a presentation.
Me?
You should teach, yeah.
I don't know.
You can
Nothing
teach
to
teach us how to see women as mother.
Oh, I'm very bad in it.
But that's why you should teach it.
Very bad preaching backstamp.
And just teach us then how not to see women as
Yeah, this I
and
can preach
subjects.
very well.
Oh, that's already risky. Don't do that. How not to see women as sense object, you can teach. So whatever you want to learn, teach it. You will learn it better.
Wow.
That's scientifically proven.
Yeah.
There is scientific.
But how can you teach it if you can learn, if you first need to learn it, then you can
What?
teach it. He wants to learn, but to learn.
Yeah, he
you
knows,
say
but
has
he
to
knows. He knows what we should do. But when he
Yeah.
teaches, it becomes
Comes
ingrained in
directly.
his consciousness and
Mhm.
in his heart. And this is how I survived in Krishna consciousness. I'm always talking about things that I want to learn. And finally, after 30 years, I learned a couple of things. And people think I know something, but the price was big.
So it is not necessary to realize it. Just
300 classes. And then, oh yeah, I should do this too. So, yeah, we can have maybe doesn't have to always be about Brahmacharya. We can speak about delicate topics, things like that, And I think also Chandramukhi Mataji wants to have these philosophical discussions about what is right and what should we do, how to apply things. I mean, I do this always with Gita coaching, with clients, always discuss how to apply Shastra in everyday life. So we can discuss different topics, but if you like to speak about Brahmacharya, then you can prepare something from Maharaj's book and prepare. And do you have it? You can find it.
from Bhakti Vikas one?
Yeah.
It's in the library.
Yeah, you can prepare and present it to us and enlighten us. Then we can ask you questions.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and every one of you can prepare for one of the sessions something, at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And in this way you can practice preaching. And, if you preach about this, you will be more serious to practice it. So this is also, yes,
Can I ask you one last question
yeah.
about the food? If we eat, I heard sometimes this we should eat very simple, because sweets we should avoid, and all these things should be avoided, and like very simple eat. But if you do tapasya like this to reduce the lust, it is not actually increasing because we're suppressing something. It is how to balance it. If we eat just only Sunday opulence and under the week simple, is it
How can you eat here? How can you here eat simple? on,
I don't
during
know,
the week
maybe I
because
can
there is so
try.
many preparations.
Maybe I can try just eat rice and dal, but
And
What's
always
it
new
called?
cooks, so every cook wants to show how, you know,
Yeah.
they can make so many
For
things.
Krishna,
I can
everything's
cook
so
pasta.
But the only solution I can give you is take little of everything. Don't take too much of everything. So you have, for a few seconds, you have the dal experience. For a few seconds, you have the rice experience. Instead of having like 15 minutes of rice, and then everything else comes, then you have no space. So you can try different things. Sometimes eat one. I sometimes eat only one preparation. There is 10, and I say I take only one, and I put a liter olive oil. And
we can support each other. I want to change my diet also, so
that's also partnership. Very good.
yeah.
And I have this problem. I'm not
Discipline,
really feel
discipline.
attracted to prasadam.
What you don't?
No, that's fine.
I don't feel really attracted to prasadam. I am so into karmi food and my mom's cooks. I mean, it's not really for me. It's not like I don't want to offend it, but it's like really not a big hit for me. You know, this food. So
Mama cooks nicely.
yeah, she cooks very nice.
What?
And sometimes
So bring her to the
attached
temple.
To her food, but
Bring her to the temple so she can cook for
her
everybody.
material energy is very strong.
No problem.
Everyone will fall down.
Offer to Krishna, I says.
But if I can manage to eat really simple, then it's not there a danger there that I can suppress and the loss will come in another form, or I will make a pressure of me or something like that.
You can take a little bit of sweet.
Sweet little bit.
You know,
Complete the mind a little bit.
I think this is so hard. This moderation
Yeah.
is so hard. It's harder than renunciation. Because you take a little
Sense of time is
and you say,
hardest.
thank you, Hare Krishna. Yes.
I was listening to lectures of Dr. Leeladhar Gupta, Vitrasi. He's in the Ayurvedic Parampara, I believe.
Okay.
Dantantadi Jam is in David.
The son of the daughter of Prabhupada.
And he is explaining how in Ayurveda you must satisfy your tongue with all 6 different tastes, and how is the procedure, and why one should not talk when eating prasadam. Because if one constantly accepts prasadam, which one should, the first burp that comes up is the nature sign that your belly is half full, and then you should stop. But if we talk, air comes up, food comes down, and you don't understand, you're not aware of the burp, and you might have a burp coming too soon or something like that. And to enjoy sweets, that your tongue is satisfied and doesn't look for food outside the main meals, because he says eating snacks between main meals, that's Kali Yuga. You should only eat main meals and avoid, then you have regulated stool and everything. And to enjoy sweets, if you have like midday eating, you have the salty stuff first, mostly, so rice, dal, sabji. Then one should have a bit of salad to clean the tongue, so when one eats the sweet, you can really enjoy the sweets. Then the tongue is satisfied. But if you don't, then, and if you talk or you're distracted from it while taking prasadam, you cannot, you won't satisfy the mind as much with the food, so you're gonna look elsewhere afterwards. It's all to do with consciousness, he says.
It's scientific. It's very, very nice.
I'll give you the lectures if you want.
Okay.
And it's called library.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada used to not talk during
Yeah.
the Shara.
He's eating alone.
Always.
So what can we do next time? If I say eating, then I will say I don't talk. Please don't disturb me.
And
15
listening,
minutes
is
max.
listening okay?
Yes, yes. But also he says just be careful, because some people who are Vata, they should never talk about politics or money or anything, because they will have very bad time digesting, and through Vata disturbances, all their nonsense comes. Then the other doshas are disturbed, then all desires come, sickness, and
I'm the example.
Don't talk about it.
Okay, so
But I can't talk about
you
anything.
can, you want to stop this? Or?
Oh yeah, please. Thank you.
Yeah.